Hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first Vibrational Astrology Interviews Live. I'm here with my colleagues and friends, and we're going to be doing some charts today. We asked that anybody that wanted to participate could submit their birth information. Am I hearing feedback from you guys, or is it just me?
I'm not hearing
It's
anything.
possibly, it was me. Sorry, I had to turn it off and it was in my headphones. Fun parts of being live. So what we did is we asked for people's birth information so that we could look up at their charts beforehand and then we could talk about them online. So we're going to do that as we unpack this interview session. We're going to talk about the people that submitted their birth information. If you haven't done that, you can do that for a future episode that we have. I see that there's some people already in the chat.
Yeah.
Levi, Michelle, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly, Levi. Let me know if I am or not. And Michelle, Marie, nice to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. You guys are two of our people that we're going to dig into your charts today. But before we dig into the charts, I want to say hi to my friends here. And how are you doing today, Michelle?
Great. How is everyone? I'm happy to be here as always. And thank you to everyone who's joining us live today. This is going to be exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And D-Dub, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Glad to be here. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's our first show live. It's super exciting. And Christopher, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks. Yeah, looks good. Interested to do this.
Yes, me too. I'm excited to see what we have going on here. So the first person we were going to do was Michelle was going to do Jerry Lynn, but I'm not sure if she's in the chat. I guess we'll wait till she pops up to talk to her because I think that'd be appropriate. But we can move on to Levi or Michelle Marie. Do you want to start, Christopher, with Michelle Marie, since she's already here in the chat? She's
sure.
Okay,
I can do that.
Cool.
Okay. All right, Michelle. Let's see. We're looking at the December 14th, 1962. Is that correct? If I can get that one correct, then we will be good and we'll go from there. Just waiting for a response there on that date. Oh, good. All right. Awesome. Okay. So one of the things is we start off with like one of your strongest vibrations, which you happen to have an overwhelmingly strong 29th vibration. And the 29th vibration, this is a transformation sort of, it has a very strong sort of philosophical, mature quality to it. It's about really the bigger view, but you don't want simple answers. There's a real complexity and a real desire to understand. This has a very optimistic sort of view of evolution and growth. And you have these 5 planets all conjunct in the 29th. And you literally have more than that. Your 29th is extremely strong, but it's a Sun, Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, Pluto, and it's a charming charisma. There's a deep and wide love. It's very kind, very sort of loving. It's bright. It's expansive. It's very creative and imaginative. So this is a person who is very optimistic, that wants to see, the beauty in the world and people grow and people change and just develop. It's not where there's a fear of, there's not a fear of, what would I say? How would I say it? There's not a fear of the dark. It's not like avoidance of the dark. It's not this fairyland where, everything is always good. It's where there can be difficult things, but you'll look for the positive in it. Like, we can get through this and it can be for the better. So it's really super, super strong that way. That's one of your first ones. The other one is a 205. So the 205th vibration is also quite strong. And this is, again, it's a useful enthusiasm for ideas. It's so it's not about a dry approach to learning. It really wants to take and it wants to delve into things very deeply. So it wants to understand, but it doesn't like just the dry approaches. Like, you have to have a life to it. You have to like, what does this mean? How is this going? Much more hands-on. You want someone who is enthusiastic. If you're going to sit under someone who's teaching, you want them to be enthusiastic about what they're teaching and not just giving you the facts of stuff. You need that. It's a very creative. You have this creativity and this discipline both, all right, that goes really well together. And a drive for that deepness, wanting to understand the larger complex issues, how society might get along, sort of from a philosophical point of view. But we have to make this practical. We have to see this. Like, if you do this, your life can be better. It wouldn't surprise me if you were in any kind of counseling or, doing, what would I say, psychology or anything working, or a teaching, anything like that, where you're working with people, trying to help them, support them, encourage them, help them in their life. Something like that would not surprise me at all. Then a third one there is your 291st, which is really a drive to build one's own masterpiece over time. And this it's not just, it's taking the stories that are there. It has an inner discipline. It has a drive. So you have the ability to work really hard and very dedicated. Now, one of the things you can, and probably especially when younger, you can take on a lot of responsibility. So life, I would look at your chart and say, life for you hasn't necessarily been always easy. You've had to learn some things the hard way and go through tough experiences. And what's happened is it's given you the ability to really relate to people and connect with people in a very genuine way. You become extremely wise. You build a wisdom, but you built that wisdom through things you suffered, through hardships and different things you had to go through. That was a lot of your school. Does that make sense, Michelle? Would that be something that would be true?
There might be like a slight delay in the comments.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm just
Okay.
just
No problem.
mentioning that.
But
yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm going to guess that it's most likely fairly true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I learned quick. Yes. Empathy early. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very, very true. Again, you meet challenges like head on. You're also coming into a very good time in your hard childhood. Yes, definitely. Yeah. You can see that there could be someone that was very stern that is in the childhood. Even the potential for some physical things could be there. It was not just a pleasant, warm time. There was some hardships. Now, I will tell you that there's always reasons for this, that we go through the things we go through because we're going to be able to really help people who are going through that same type of thing, that we're going to be very sensitive to it. So I would imagine you're quite sensitive to anyone, whether it be a child or an adult, that has been through some very trying hardships in that way. So, and you have the ability to sort through, probably meet most people where they're at and really be able to help them and be able to communicate them. Again, a wonderful, fantastic mind that can take a lot of different thoughts, a lot of different situations, and bring a wisdom to it. So that's at least a very quick, casual reading there. So, but let's see. I'm telepathic, great with people. Yeah, you are. You would be very good with I can imagine you could be very good with people. You're there's a mothering quality that's there, obviously. And it's one that wants to really care, that wants to provide people a certain stability in who they are, but you're also one to encourage people to go out. It's sort of a combination of mother, father, all in one. It's kind of what you have both dynamics. You have that unconditional love, but also the encouragement you need to go out in the world and you need to accomplish something. That's how I kind of would describe you. So, yes, definitely a care archetype. Yes, but you're not just that. You're not just one who is that. Yes, I can do it. Yes, you can. That's true. You can. Very true. And you've earned it. That's the thing. It wasn't just given to you. You've had to go through and you've had to earn this, through all the different things you suffered and the different trials you've been through in life, you've earned it. And I would imagine you're coming in right now to a place in your life where it's sort of being seen by people. They're really seeing you for the gem that you are. That's how I would look at where you are in your cycle right now. So world is my home, people are my family. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. You're one. Yeah. You're quite a person there. So, all right. That's at least a little quick one there.
Yeah, that's definitely some insight. Do you have any questions for us, Michelle, or anything about what he had mentioned in your chart? Awesome. So, okay, if not, that's fine too. I just figured I'd ask. So I'm wondering who else is in the chat room with us. I see there's multiple people, but I'm just wondering who else is in the chat to communicate with us if we have Dennis or if we have Jerry Lynn in the chat. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Oh, Levi's there.
Yeah, Levi's there. Yeah.
Yes, Levi's there. So I can go ahead and start talking to Levi. And I can look at your chart. And Levi, I've already confirmed your birth information through email. So I'm going to go ahead and just start talking about your stuff. So the first thing I see with you, Levi, is that you have a strong 64. You have a strong pattern in the vibration 64. And 64 is a really interesting vibration because it's 8 times 8. 8 is the hard aspects. If you know about if you understand about how the vibration charts work. So it's 8 times 8. And this aspect is going on, this pattern is going on in your 64th vibration. It is with Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and the moon. And this really gives you a strong imagination. You happen to be, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but you happen to be one of those people that can look at life's questions about the universe, life, things like that, God or spirituality, and you can take that on with yourself and try to dig into what that would mean, what they mean. You're not afraid to dig into those types of questions. So whenever we see Neptune and Saturn, we think of like a spiritual seeker of sorts, and that it's connected with Pluto gives you this ability to dig deep. You're not just a surface level person. You want to dig deep and learn about things. And, I know when you emailed me that you had a bunch of information to share with me. So I see. I see. Yes, I see what you're saying in the chat. That I'm sorry that you had to go through that at such a young age. But thank you for sharing that with me. But I think there's a part of you that isn't afraid to dig into those topics outside of just your own personal experiences. I know you told me when you emailed me that you were interested in astrology and learning different modalities in astrology. That was really interesting to you. And I think that that is a right thing for you to focus on. That's a right path for you to take, because this pattern is very strong in your chart. Obviously, we're not just one pattern in our chart. We're multiple different facets to us in every layer possible. But I also think that because this is a really strong one, it's about the spiritual seeker, the person that's looking for something beyond what is the surface, what is known already by, calculations or, what's on the surface. This is important for you to dig deep, for you to be able to open up and to get connected to something that's deeper within you, that's deeper within what your understanding of the universe is. Yes. It's not going to let you go. That's a great way to say it. Yes, that's a great way to look at it too, because I think that's right. It's not going to let you go. This desire to be this person is not going to let you go. And that speaks to the 64th vibration. Christopher, you've done a lot of research on these vibrations that are higher. I'm curious if you have a description of 64 off the top of your head, or even Michelle, if either of you guys do have like a thought of what 64 is outside of thinking of 8 times 8, which is an energetic process. It's like the energetic process of you being multiplied many times over. I don't know if you have a better way to say it than that, possibly any of you guys, but I figured I would ask. But I think that because it is an 8 times 8 vibe, and 8 vibe is really important to us. If you know about harmonic charts or vibration charts and how they're calculated, the 8th vibration shows all of our hard aspects. So 8 times 8 is in that vibration of the hard aspects. And that means that it's something important to you. 64, right? Right. So, I mean, I think that's an important thing for you to kind of think about within yourself, and remember that you have to seek that spiritual path. This gives you some strong basis of fortitude, some strong basis of purpose in your life too. So that's a really important part to you and the trajectory of where you're going. You want to be able to even share what you do with other people, share your meaning, your own personal meaning, your spiritual seeking that you do within yourself with other people as well. That could be a potential for you to even work with something that you have in your own life. Additionally, you have another pattern that is in the 100 vibration. So 100 vibration is 5 times 5 times 4, or 25 times 4. And interestingly enough, if you follow David Cochran on YouTube, he is our teacher. You can find his YouTube link in the description, by the way. He just talked about a month or so ago about the 25th vibration. So this is making sense to your 25th vibration. And 25th vibration, what is going on there? It is Sun, Moon, Jupiter, and Mars. So you have this essence about yourself that is very much like the person who wants to expand their energy outward. There is a part of you that has a newness to yourself where you want to explore and understand things on a level for yourself, and then you want to expand it outward. You also want to see different people's points of view. That's really important to you. And there's a playful element to it, a creative element to it, because this is 100 vibration. That you want to be able to have this approach that can be taking a little from this, a little from this, a little from this, like all these different approaches, and making it something of your own, if that makes sense. So there is something about you that wants to bring that to the table. So mixing that with your 100 vibration into what I mentioned about the 64th vibration, that spiritual seeking, that finding fortitude and purpose. That could be some key points to things inside of your chart that make you want to push forward and want to grow in a certain direction. So I know you're interested in astrology, and I know that you're interested in, different spiritual topics from the couple emails that we've had with each other. So I feel like you're in the right path for yourself, and I feel like you're following what is vibrationally belonging to you, if that makes sense. So Levi, does that, you're telling me here in the chat too, like your Chiron in the 9th related a lot to this as well? Yeah. So one of the things in vibrational astrology, in the vibration charts, we don't use the house systems so much because I won't get into the mechanics of it, but the houses move much faster in vibration charts. I mean, everything moves faster, but the houses are, unless the timing of your birth is really perfect, it's very difficult to calculate where the houses are. So we don't use them so much in vibration charts. In the natal chart, that's a different story. And that's more along the lines of the framework of vibrational astrology. I know that, you know, some of us do use houses in this chat. Some of the four of us do, but it's not necessarily part of the framework of vibrational astrology, even though I know you're talking about the 11th house in the chat here. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think what's important is to looking at the different planetary patterns that are going on within your chart, and looking at the vibrations, the planetary patterns in the vibrations. Those are really what I'm talking about in this particular instance. You also asked me in the email about the 11th vibration, and I found it interesting. I wondered where you got that question from, and maybe you don't know, but I was looking and I didn't see in the listing that there was a lot of strong patterns in the 11th vibration. If there was a question that you had specifically about that, because I'd like to be able to answer that for you. Yeah, so you like to listen to music. I see music and different healing modalities. Very interesting. All right. So, okay. So, this is interesting. You are in the third of the last quarter moon phase in your progressed moon phase. So I'm going to actually ask Christopher to explain that a little bit better, because I know he's better at explaining that than I am. So that particular concept, Christopher is really good at explaining. So Christopher, why don't you tell him a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so you're in the last quarter, and next year you'll be going into your balsamic moon phase. What this is the ending of a 30-year cycle. So it's a phase that, of course, you've been in the vast majority of your life, but it's coming to an end. So what happens in this period is things can get a little bit like darker. And what I mean by that is not bad. It's that the future is not as clear, because what you're doing now is you're going to start letting go of stuff. You're going to prepare for this next phase of your life. And so as you're going through this last quarter, and then next year into the balsamic, let's see, I think it is June 17th next year. So exactly a year from now, you'll be going into that balsamic. And it's a time it's a very inward time, letting go of some stuff. And it's not about taking and moving forward as much as just taking account of what is, and like, what do I need? What do I not need? It comes into that kind of play. So, and yeah, it does become a major theme, and just a transition time. So just know that if you feel you can deal with little bits of depression, and really a depression is a message to us that we need to go within. And so stop trying to bull forward with stuff, and kind of pull back and come into ourselves, and sort of like, okay, what am I doing? And getting to know yourself even more that way. Because what you're doing is you're laying the foundation for the next 30 years is what you're doing. And you're just coming into that time of preparing the ground to lay that new foundation. So, I mean, I noticed that he also had a really strong 47 vibe, which is that sort of that bridge, and like connecting things that are different. That seems to be something for him as well. And that accepting the unknown. I can see that he has a very good ability to sort of bring eclectic kind of different things come into play. He's not like it needs to be this and that's the end of it. It's like, well, let's see how we can make this work or make that work.
Yeah, I saw that too, like bringing all the different parts of this. Eclectic is the perfect word for it, because it's bringing all the different parts to what into something of themselves. So that makes so much sense there.
Yeah, and he has a natural kindness to him with the Mercury and Venus, just a few minutes apart. There's a kindness in his speech and a kindness which sometimes, I would say this to Levi, sometimes you can be too nice and not express your own true thought and really what you need to say. And that'll be something that in the next, 8 years or so that you're going to begin to move more into, to really find your voice and move more that way. Yeah.
That's pretty beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like this resonates with you, Levi. It sounds like what we're telling you is what you've been feeling as well. And of course, this is a mini reading, so we're just giving you a little bit of your chart here, not the entirety of it. But I'm glad to hear that the eclectic part of it also makes sense for you too.
Well, so Levi mentioning about it's not so much in his chart. Okay, so everybody has all the signs, just so you know. Your Pisces is on your, the third house cusp. So it's your education. It's how you understand how things work. So that's where part of that can come into play from a natal chart view. But really, when you get into the vibrations, you see this very strong in your 31st vibration and also in that 49 vibration that you have, that you can bring things, you have a strong ability to bring different things together. That's how we would say that in VA.
Yeah. I like one time you said, Christopher, that VA is, I'm paraphrasing, but VA doesn't use the houses like traditional astrology, but we look at it, the vibrations kind of like the houses. So I think that was a really good way to put it. And it kind of makes sense when you conceptualize it in your mind. So that makes sense.
Because you're looking where the planetary configurations manifest. So that's traditionally what a house is, where the planetary dynamics manifest. But for VA, we say the planetary manifestations is through the vibration. So there, if the 41st vibration is where these planets are all coming into a conjunction, that's where they're manifesting. Yeah, so that plays the role of the house.
Yeah,
traditionally.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that description, or that thought process of it. Yes, very cool. So, thank you for letting us share your chart and talk to you, Levi. That was very sweet. I'm grateful that we were able to do that. Let's see who else is in the chat with us. If we have Michelle, we did Michelle Marie. Sorry, Dennis. Is Dennis in the chat, or Jerry Lynn? Are you guys in the chat with us? And while we're waiting for them, we did have a question. I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the show it. I think I can show it there. It's a question. Oops, it didn't pop up.
Yeah, there you go.
The question was, when using the progressed moon, do you use it in comparison to the progressed or natal sun? So I would say yes. There's two parts to this, and I'll answer part of it. The other part I'll hand to Christopher, because I think he has some insight there too. So using the progressed moon, I would look at it connected to the natal sun or the natal charts. And I would also use it for the transits, connecting to the transiting planets. What Christopher talks about a lot and uses is the progressed moon phases, which is different. So would you look at it with the progressed moon phases and the natal chart, Christopher, or is that a method that you would use?
So again, depending on what you're looking for, I mean, you could kind of use all the stuff. So how I tend to look at things is by comparison and sort of grouping. I'm very eclectic, so I just you'll notice that there's themes that develop, and you'll see it in the natal chart. You can see it through traditional astrology. You can see it through VA. You can see it through other methods as well. And so I will take and see themes, and that's kind of where I go. So do I use the progressed sun? Well, yeah, of course I use the progressed sun, but in relationship to the moon, what you want to see is the moon. The cycle of the moon, I will tell you, is very strong as far as personal development and growth, and whether light is increasing or decreasing. So there's growth on both sides. There's the struggle, fight, you need to strive and do of the waxing moon, and then there's the waning moon, which is a let go, let out, let go. And so both sides are really strong, where with the progressed sun, it's different. It's not that way because the sun is always moving forward. It's just the style is different. But
Right.
it's always moving forward, where the moon is not. The moon is pulling in, giving out, or fighting for. So it's just a different way. It just really tells you a different message is what it does. So to say that, are you using it in concert with each other? Yes. I mean, but we use everything because it's always you. So you always want to use it, but not necessarily like, okay, if it's this, then it means that. Not so much. You need to sort of like, okay, what is this style? So with the phases that you talk about, last quarter, balsamic, etc. Yes.
Moon phase. Looks like we have a question coming.
Yeah. So moon and phase. Yes. You want to see what yes, it's all about the moon and what phase the moon is in. And again, when you're talking about a new moon or first quarter, you're looking at energy rising. You're looking at, you're developing, it's getting more clear. You usually see people come in and they are like in their careers, when they're coming up to a full moon, they're actually going gangbusters. They're really, you're just moving right in, as opposed to a balsamic phase where it's ending and you see people losing their jobs, changing their careers, going on. So yeah, so the moon phase with the natal sun, yes. So it's, everything is telling a story. Think of it as a story. So if I'm in a, so for example, my daughter was in her balsamic moon, but she got married in her balsamic moon. Why? Because her singleness was ending. All right. So this was, and also she's younger, so her singleness is ending. She's beginning a new phase with a husband now, and now she's married. Now it's a couple. So you do take that in concert with where that progressed sun would be, or even the natal sun. You're always using those two. So the natal sun is like always there. It's always there. But when we look at the progressed sun, we're adding a flavor. Just think of it as adding a flavor to it. And then in a balsamic, again, this is another flavor. Okay, how is this moving this? Very different if we were with these and let's say we were at a full moon. You're going to read it very differently, because it's like, wow, okay, you're ready to take hold of that instead of letting go. And yet you could have the exact same, obviously you'd have the exact same natal sun, and the progressed sun, where that's at, how is this going to help me in sort of releasing these things or in fighting for? That's how you're going to read it. So finally,
Yeah, that makes sense. And thank you for sharing that too, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Looks like Jerry Lynn has joined us.
Yes, it does look like Jerry Lynn has joined us. Hi, Jerry Lynn. How are you doing today? Hopefully good. So today, Michelle you're gonna do Jerry Lynn.
Yeah. Is she still here with us? Is she ready? Are you ready, Jerry Lynn? Hi there.
Awesome.
Awesome. So when I was digging through your chart over here, a couple of your super high vibrations, or a few of the strongest, are both 87 vibe and also 119, I believe it was. But I would like to start with the 87 vibe. You have this planetary configuration. And just to backtrack here for a second, that 87 vibe is 29 times 3. So earlier, Christopher had, spoken a little bit about that 29, and that 29 vibration, it really has this like a transformative, a philosophical, it's a mature connection that can really see the larger picture or the broader view in life. And the 3 piece of that is there's like an ease and a flow. So to simply put that, there's an ease and a flow in how you view the world and transformative change. And what I see here in this 87 vibration is you have this 4-planet configuration that joins together with Pluto, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus. And what this tells me, or what it shows us, is that there's really kind of no simple answer for you and how your mind operates. And this was fascinating to read in your chart, like just the intensity in your thought processes and in your mind. But it also shows us that you may be interested in, many areas of life or study or discovery. There's this element of discovery that I feel plays a big role or a big piece of your wiring. And it also shows us how optimistic and inspiring you are to others. And I feel that you have this really beautiful and great ability of really drawing people in, or to join into that optimism or that sense of discovery. And you do this in a way that's really fearless. Like you have this beautiful ability to push boundaries that can lead to new insights or perspectives and ways of viewing things. And it's very expanded and deep, and your mind is so probing and making mental connections and communications. And that was just really super awesome to see. Does that resonate with you? Yes. She feels intense sometimes and fearless and optimistic. Yeah, perfect. We can see that literally right here in your wiring. And, it's part of you. It's part of who you are. So, honor those pieces within yourself and continue to push that forward. That 87 vibration also showed me that you can kind of think and act on this large scale, that you always kind of need these environments that provide you with those opportunities for growth and to explore and to be involved with people. And, there's a tendency here that if anything was too kind of congested for you or narrowly focused or put you into a space of solitude or kind of backed you up or pushed you up against a wall, I want to say, like, this would not fly for you. So allow yourself that grace too, to, have some of these spaces and places of freedom, because you are this dreamer with these grand visions, and to make sure that you always kind of back up those dreams with your plans and to prepare for those as well. I also see this beautiful wiring and this vibration as well of you being really kind of excitable and spontaneous. So if this is that you really love, these dynamic movements, if that's music and dancing and sports and competition and, those kinds of things that can really get you moving and get your energy moving, this is a place that I feel that you kind of really experience life through kind of being kinesthetic and, moving that body and being, vibrant. So this is great. Does that resonate with you too? Yes. Awesome. The other piece, now this was so fun to pick apart, Jerry Lynn, the 119 vibe. So in your 119, I'm going to talk a little bit more about like your high energy, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I want to get through the 119 first. But the 119 vibe, it's 17 times 7. This is really interesting. So that 17 vibration really has a very profound and a deep sense of empathy and the interest to the stories of others. And then that 7 piece of it is, you know, kind of what makes it profound and deep and internal. But I feel that this is manifesting for you in a way of, if you're really attracted to or you're inclined to the arts or acting or theater. And this could also be literature or a cultural experience. And this was this was so fun to watch because, once again, I'm going to kind of back this up. We're the Sun Neptune tribe, the 4 of us here on Vibrational Astrology interviews. We're all the Sun Neptune people. And Jerry Lynn, you have Sun Neptune joining in with Uranus and Saturn in this vibration. So it kind of shows me that you have this, may have like a very curious or an unusual imagination. If you really, I'm giggling to myself because I resonate with this. If you question authority or traditions or, you know, maybe other people or the world's assumptions about particular belief systems or religion, this shows that you have this very honest and sincere quest to find the truth. So I'm curious if that resonates with you as well. So, you know, a little permission slip right there to Jerry Lynn to, yeah, perfect. Like, you know, put yourself out there and explore, and your inquisitive nature is going to take you far, really. But this deeply and moving need to get down to the truth. I giggle to myself when I see this. I kept seeing that image. I know I'm old, but you guys remember the X-Files and that little banner that they throw out there? Like, the truth is out there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
truth is out there. That's all that it was that I could kind of see when I was going through this, or at least that's the vision that I had in my mind. But I also, you know, see here, Jerry Lynn, in this 119 vibe, that, you know, like really deep and moving literature or, you know, artistry is really important for you, with also a need to express any kind of deep feelings that you have through, if this is through acting or writing or diving into a book, that's going to be like a really important thing for you. I don't know if you, Jerry Lynn, if you kind of adopted some type of ethnic or cultural style or some kind of lifestyle change in your personal habits. You don't have to share those with us if you're not comfortable, if you don't want to. But I feel that this may be something that you kind of adopted and in a way that was very profoundly different from what you learned or what it is that you grew up with. It's like, I want to completely and totally change that old way or that old style and come up with, and, you know, really kind of create my own thing. And a need to kind of, I don't want to say like completely dissociate yourself from your early life or your childhood influences, but that is quite a possibility in what it is that I see and the wiring here of the 119 vibration. So one thing that I think is important to mention as well, Jerry Lynn, a couple of, you know, transits that are going forward, you have a little bit of a double whammy that's going on right now. I do not mean that in a negative way by any means, but transiting Uranus is actually conjunct your natal Mars right now on your descendant. And when I see this, this does show that there may be this timeline coming up, you know, this little period of time where you may feel a little restless or a little frustrated. And it can kind of, that transiting Uranus through the 7 there can really kind of shake up relationships or your dynamics in relationships, if this is something that has just kind of begun for you or something to look forward into as you kind of move through, these next 7 to 8 years. And certainly that does not have to be a negative thing by any means. It just is. There may be some changes in relationships or how it is that we connect with other people. So that transit, like transiting Uranus, that's typically like a 7 to an 8 year long transit for it to go all the way through that house, through that 7th house. So, like I said, it's, don't be, you're fearless anyway, as we kind of already discussed, but feel your way through it and, go with the flow. And the reason why I called it a little bit of a double whammy is because transiting Uranus is conjunct your natal Mars, and transiting Mars right now is conjunct your natal Uranus. It's like it's going in 2 different directions, but all is well. When I went through and I looked at so it is the relationship house. So it doesn't have to necessarily mean just, romantic relationships, but relationships of all kinds. If this is
committed relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Partnerships.
And, that can even include partnerships in your workspaces and those kinds of things. But I always say knowledge is power. So, to have that knowledge, it will allow you that grace and that opportunity to decide on, how it is that you want to proceed in those relationships, or even challenge yourself and what needs to change, because sometimes we have to change our relationships, and that's, totally up to you and how it is that you want to handle that. But it really can be a beautiful thing. When I looked over, I believe it was a gibbous. I just want to check.
Yes.
Yeah, she is.
Moon. Yeah. So this gibbous phase, this is really super cool.
Yeah.
It's like you're reaching that, you're moving into, because the next phase will be your full moon. So you're reaching into that fullness, like you're really coming into your own. And for the next 2 years, this is a really important time for you to think about or discover how you want to be most efficient, I want to say, and, like how you're operating so that you can continue to grow and have value in that. So this can, include others in that learning process. If there's some sort of learning that's going on, if you are, looking at an expansive approach and how you want to kind of be a little bit more or do a little bit more. And it's kind of really going outside of yourself to participate in, some bigger things. And
I think she said she just began a new business, so it's perfect.
Perfect.
It's perfect. Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're already in it. It started a year ago. You have about 2 years left into this. And then when you come through the next 2 years, you're going to be in that full moon phase where you're really kind of in your complete ripeness and fullness. Like,
and then disseminating, which is even better. She's got literally like 8-9 years of like really, really good, positive, amazing stuff.
Yes. Awesome. And Jerry Lynn, we have no doubt that you are totally going to rock all of this. And that fearlessness within you, and that, excitability and that optimism, all of these things are, really perfect for you, and know that you are really ripe for your success going forward.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Jerry Lynn? This is an exciting time for you. I'm excited for you.
I looked up some of her Jerry Lynn stuff, and the one thing that I would say to her is she has a real Apollo Dionysian dynamic, and she needs to go more on the Dionysian side.
Drinking
So
more wine. Is that what that means? Isn't
partly
he the wine god? That
he's the
dine
wine god, but
dine.
he is the
I think.
a little crazy, like being very open. So one is very controlled and one is wild and creative. And so she has both the dynamics, but oftentimes you'll see that the control side tends to dominate. You know, it's different ways, but with her, the control side's going to be a little dominant, and she needs to get a little bit creative. That's part of that Uranus on the midheaven and now transiting the seventh. So, and opposite her ascendant, it's like this is time to like really come into your true creative self in a very powerful way. And so it's letting that Dionysian side that a little, it's not, it can appear crazy because it's very spontaneous. That's why the wine is sort of the concept is the wine is the lubricant that lets you to be
It
who you
loosens
really
you up.
are.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's where I would see her now.
Yeah, but she does have like this little bit of rebellion in her,
Oh,
which
she
I
does,
love.
absolutely. And
She's
she
got
admires it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
this
the
is perfect.
relationship changes, transit, what does that mean? So the relationship side, it only means that right now you're going through a period where any relationship you have, it will require you to be your true self. You will not compromise yourself in a relationship. That's not going to happen. That's what that really means. Is I will be, any relationship I have, any committed relationship I have will be one of my true nature. It has to be me and not me compromising my actual being. So,
Yeah, so Jerry Lynn has a major aspect with Moon, Jupiter, and Neptune in the 91st vibration. So this is a 13 times 7. So everything you guys have just said is perfect for this. It's not so much wild and crazy. It's actually an elegant discipline at being a dreamer. And so Jerry Lynn can become easily bored. And so she's going to enjoy experiencing different cultures and ethnic styles. It's good to travel. She can excel in the entertainment industry or any field that requires a lot of imagination and vision. So that's perfect with what you just said.
Perfect. I'm so curious what the new business is. If she
I know.
if she cares to share.
She mentioned energy healing, but yes.
Yeah, I love your description, David, the elegant disciplined dreamer. That's awesome.
So not so much wild and crazy. It's a little more.
No, she needs a wild and crazy because she's too disciplined. So she's coming from a side of being too
in an elegant way. In an elegant way, though.
You can be crazy.
Elegantly wild and crazy.
So it's always a matter of where you're coming from.
Yes.
So you kind of need to swing, like you have to pull. That's why I don't want her to not hear anything that is like restrictive.
Oh, right.
Like,
soul healing
she will lean on
activations. Nice.
Soul healing activations. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds
good.
A little uniquely
that's
different.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. She will actually, that's going to be really amazing because she's made for transformation through communal activity. Like she needs the interaction to not only transform that person, but for her to transform. Like it's a mutual transformation within the, so when people would come for healing, it literally is a healing for both. Like she will receive power as well as them. It's a very, she's got a very strong, like that dynamic of release, you know?
Yeah.
So exciting.
Cool.
And it's perfect timing for her to be starting it now is really good.
Yes.
Because what you do is you have a few years to tweak. So you're tweaking through the gibbous and full moon. And when you get to the disseminating, it's full mature.
Yeah.
So you basically have 3 for 5, about 5.5 years of kind of a growing, tweaking, developing it. And then it's the full maturity of it. So,
then you get to harvest and reap all of the rewards of your hard work. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And shine. Literally put yourself out there to shine.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
So
6 months ago. Perfect.
We do have
Yeah.
a question. I started the question. It was from La Jahan, and it says, "Do we?" I'll put it up on the screen. Do we have any
137.
ideas about the prime number 137? I
Oh,
didn't know
isn't
if you
someone
guys had
doing
any
this?
thoughts about that.
Yeah, I think Faye's going to be
I
working on that this
think
year.
Faye
So if you
just
can schedule getting to the Vibrational Astrology Conference in March of 2024, we highly encourage you to come. So we will have a definition for it soon.
yes, the Vibrational Astrology Conference is in Gainesville, Florida. So you can definitely check us out there. So someone is doing the research currently on that vibration. So that'll be cool. Do you have a strong 137? I don't know if you're still in the chat or not. Just wondering if that's why you asked that question.
The 137, was that the one that we were starting to discover, like the superhero? Remember we all fell down that rabbit hole about 2 months
Yeah.
ago, or at least I did.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm always falling down the rabbit hole, like the super.
Yeah, it
Like
was
the
like
superhero thing.
Spider-Man or something. I can't remember what superhero it was, but it was like all these actors that played that
Was
particular.
that one?
I don't know if it was that or 173. I'm looking.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
would
for
have to go
sure.
back and look, to be honest with you. I don't remember off
I
the
would
top of
too.
my head, but that was a funny one.
That was fun.
You're very welcome, Jerry Lynn. Thank you so much for allowing us to read your chart on the air too. That was really sweet. So I'm glad that we could give you some thoughts, and I really hope you do great in your business too.
Yes, thank you, Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if we have Dennis in the chat with us. I don't know if Dennis is on the other side of the world or not. I know Dennis was born in the Philippines, so it's possible that
Oh,
Dennis,
yeah, Dennis is from Baguio. That's right. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not necessarily in the chat with us. That could be.
yeah.
I don't
He'd be at
know.
like what 8:30 a.m. there now. So
Right. It's like a much. Is it 12 hours difference? That's it. Okay.
mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about that, and then we can just let him watch the video, or do you want to save that for another time?
Yeah, we can probably save it for another time. I mean, I wanted to ask if Michelle Marie is still there because she has a major aspect in the 347 vibe, which I happen to be studying right now. And I wanted to just read this preliminary definition to her and see if it resonates with her. So we'll see if she's still in. Oh, yes, she's there. Okay, so I'm just going to read what I'm thinking that the 347 vibration is about, and then just let me know if any of this resonates. I'm finding that they're improvisation masters, artistic compulsion, say and do things that come across as shocking or surprising or enchanting, making the audience laugh or cry. There's an element of uncovering or keeping of secrets or hidden stories, and they have somewhat of a shapeshifter energy. Just anecdotally want to find out.
347.
Yeah. Maybe it answers your question as well.
347.
Correct. Yes. 347 is a prime.
And you say this is in Michelle Marie's chart?
Yeah.
Really?
That's me to a T, she says.
347. Let me see. List.
Oh, nice. Gift
In a
of
humorous
bringing-
way. Awesome.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, very interesting. In a humorous way. Wow. So you have a gift of bringing out the hidden in a humorous way.
I'm
That's
typing
interesting.
that
And
right now, like that. You may end up in my presentation,
Oh,
March 2024 at the VA conference.
what planets are involved there? Is there a
Sun,
moon?
Mercury, Venus. She's got Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Pluto, but mainly Sun, Mercury, Venus.
Hmm.
There we go. The words come through and surprise even myself. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That's totally
That would be
awesome.
Sun, Mercury, Venus, Pluto. Yeah, that would be Sun, Mercury, Venus, Pluto. She doesn't have Uranus there at all, I don't think.
Nice. Thank you, Michelle. Oh wow, that's awesome. Great.
You are. Oh my gosh. So we'll get to meet you. That'll be amazing, Michelle.
Yes.
You're coming to the next conference.
Oh, Levi
Oh,
says
it's
he has
okay.
it too.
Thank you for sharing that. Oh my gosh. Wow, Levi. So you have a strong 347, correct? Let me look at Levi's chart.
I have an out of bounds Mercury strongly aspected in natal to Uranus and Neptune.
47.
I am looking. Let's see. A 140.
Let me see.
Wow.
I don't see it in the list. See it here.
All right. Anybody got any other questions?
47.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I broke Sirius for a second here. I have to start it over, but it didn't want me to pull up his chart for 347, but that's okay. Yeah. So were you able to look at it? Because Sirius just had a moment.
He's got so he has
what is the one?
let's see, he's got Mars Moon. He's got a Mars Moon Chiron in 347. He's got Sun Mercury. Oh, he's got a Sun Mercury Saturn. He's got a Sun Mercury Saturn in 347.
Well, that would be very different than what Michelle has in.
Well, except it's different in a way, but it's got the Sun Mercury, and with the Saturn, the Sun Mercury Saturn is going to give a certain detail in the speech in that vibration. So in that same style, where Michelle would be, there would be a certain elegance and beauty. Levi would be a little more detail, like specific oriented, I would think, bringing that Saturn to the Sun Mercury. It might do that. Just be more precise, where Michelle's would come through a little softer and a little. It would just have a more appeal. You know, it would have that attractive appeal. So that's where I would twist it. But the same, it's manifesting through the same sort of dynamic. So.
Right.
And you're describing that as what, David? What's your line on that one?
Improv Masters. Hold on, let me pull it up. Artistic compulsion, say and do things that come across as shocking, surprising, or enchanting, making the audience laugh or cry.
Okay.
An element of uncovering or keeping of secrets or hidden stories. And they have that shapeshifter energy as well.
Okay. So now I will say this with Levi's, because Levi in his natal chart has Venus Mercury conjunct, so he has a natural flow. Oh, okay, all right, I get it. Okay, so what this is doing for Levi is this is wanting him to tell the truth. That's what this one's doing in Levi. So Levi, to be able to do it, you see, Levi has a way of speaking that's going to always want to be kind and nice and not maybe so aggressive. And this actual dynamic is wanting to bring that to be like, I need to say it and I need to say what's real and true. And so that's the dynamic that it's doing for him, where in Michelle, she's dealing with coming from a different base. So
Right.
how it's expressed through her, it's different. The reason why with Levi is it needs to get him to say what he needs to say. He needs to say what is true and not just be nice. Okay. That's what it's doing for him.
That
So
makes sense.
that's how I would describe it.
And there's a depth in that too with Levi, because he has a 7/16 aspect to Saturn. So it's like it has to be sincere and it has to be precise and concise, but it's deep.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. He has, so for me, when I look at Levi's, I'm looking at someone who has a message that's inside of him, that his life is about bringing this message and this thing out, you know, and because he's young, it's still at a place of forming. And like, I'm trying to find the ways and I'm trying to find the language that I'm going to speak to say this, to say what I have been placed here to say, to do what I've been placed here to do. And that's where that's where he's coming from. That's how I would kind of look at that. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have a word for the knowledge of what the galactic center means, but I understand what you're saying. Jupiter conjunct the galactic center. Yeah, I definitely see that desire to be able to speak the truth, the honesty of the self, and I think there's a kindness to it that comes with it as well. Venus with Mercury. I mean that. Goes through all of your charts because it's conjunct in your natal chart so tightly.
Yes. Yeah, he's just a few minutes apart with his. So and it's right there in the natal. It's conjunct Jupiter. It's like, yeah, he's a nice guy. You know, I mean, that's what it is. And sometimes it's hard to say what you need to say because maybe it's a little harsh, or that can be hard to do. And you've got to say that, you know, and so you can't wait or like defer. I could see him as someone who would almost defer. Oh, well, yeah, you might say it better. You could say it. And he's got to get to the point where he doesn't defer, where it's been worked within him. And so he needs to be able to just speak that reality that's been the gift that's been given him. He needs to give it. So, and he has time, so he's still good. What's that?
So it's kind of, you know, like we're learning how to grow into that confidence.
Yes. And take it.
Right.
And take it, you know, just to like do it instead of like, there can be a thought where, well, it would be polite for me to let them. Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes you got to just say it.
Yeah. And Michelle said something. She said she has a gift for planting seeds that grow later. When I speak to people, truth is most important. So that, I don't know if you find that to be something in your exploration.
Yeah, I like that. I like how she said
disappear? No.
Are you talking about what Michelle said?
So maybe that's also part of it as well.
I have different planting seeds that grow later when I speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I kind of view that also as her Saturn in the 10th house. So that's a Saturn 10th house issue. So
not coincidentally placed there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I
kind of laugh because Michelle has a Saturn 10. I have a Saturn 10, so I understand Saturn 10. Like, it's like, okay.
Me too.
So, yeah. Saturn 10 is the idea of there's a wisdom, but you don't get it until you're old. That's the problem. Like, you have to get beat up when you're young. So that when you get older, it's like, okay, I learned.
Please don't beat me.
No, please stop. Okay, enough hammering, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple clients right now, and that's what they have, and they're younger, and they're going through it. Like, they're going through it. And it's like a part of the reality of that dynamic is, okay, you're going to go through it because you're learning. You know, you have to go through, you have to have these experience because nothing beats experience. You know,
Right.
it's you can have all these things, but you can only really feel it when you have it, when you've been through it. That's why when you see the dynamics in a person's chart that you also possess, you can speak to it much differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you
totally.
intimately know that energy. You intimately know that dynamic. So it becomes way more powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
true
true too. And
Michelle.
with the Saturn stuff, you learn, and that helps you to grow, obviously. So you don't grow through things being easy all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like with Michelle saying overcoming, self-consciousness, saying I'm good. Yes. So she has in the nodal section, she has the 4 to 10, coming from a 10 to a 4. It's like, so one is like proving my life, showing my life. The other one is unconditional love. And she has to embrace the unconditional love aspect of her being, and then that's where she launches from. Instead of the proving, like being it, and looking from the outside, like I can look this way, like I need to do it. But she's learning to incorporate both these, where Michelle has a strong base in an unconditional love that she can actually give herself, that she can embrace and love herself, and then move from that place, and that'll be a much stronger place to move from, instead of just like dominant and being a boss kind of thing and being in control. That coming from that place of that unconditional love will be really good for her. So, and she knows what it is to not have that. So that's the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
119 vibe deals with people are associated with taxes, credit services.
Yeah, we'll have to check into that because that's a 7 times 17, 119 vibe. So
Interior.
Just what Jerry Lynn had, the 119 vibe.
119.
Oh, okay.
So that interest in the stories of others, or empathy, the depth.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays out.
That would be one that has to be researched a little more, maybe.
Yeah. Opposing my moon, Pluto opposing my moon, and Neptune, T squared to Sun. Yeah. Yeah, I know you are, Michelle.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Interested. Yes, the 17th vibe is interested in the stories of others, and 119 is 17 times 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 7 vibe is the kind of like I like to think of it as how monk-like you are. And I know that's not the proper definition of it, but there's an inner stillness that comes with the 7 vibe. So meshing it, connecting it with the 17 vibe is, an inner stillness and interest in the stories of others. I'm not sure how that would translate to what Bounty Mac said with taxes and credit services. It may or may not. I don't know, but
maybe with the mixing with other people. So some of that dynamic with other people, because in credit, you're kind of borrowing from, there's an interaction.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it deals with because it's sort of like the 8th house dynamic of the interaction, transformational action.
Yeah.
So the idea of where they'll put 8th house or Scorpio kind of dynamics in the concept of transforming somebody, mutual transformation. I'm investing your money. I'm making money. You're making money. We both are benefiting from this transformational act. So the whole concept of 119 may work into that same kind of dynamic. We just would have to really research that
Right.
out to.
And that would be like the association with taxes and credit services would be something more along the lines of a symptom of something as opposed to the function of something. So we do look in vibrational astrology at the function of things. And so they can have many different symptoms of it, but the function's like the energy that's present. So that's the difference between VA and other systems of astrology. Looking
that's
at the
a major
function.
difference. Yes.
Yeah, a major difference. And, you know, we research this stuff. So that's how we come to these conclusions.
Yeah. Too often, and you'll see this in a lot of modern astrology, too often they will elevate the symptoms to the energy dynamic, and it's not. It's you want to see the energy and then all the variation in the manifestations of the energy in VA. That's kind of the beauty of VA. So
yeah, and if you always boil it down to the energy processes of the planets or the zodiac signs or whatever part of VA you're looking at, the vibration charts, it works. It just works, but the symptoms may manifest in a different way. That's the only part, and that's the part that you kind of make it more personalized to what the person's going through in their life experiences.
Yeah, it'll be far more in VA. You can really pinpoint things much more detailed. You know, we're just doing some kind of surface, like big things, like with Michelle. The 29 was literally overwhelming. Like she would literally be one of the strongest of the 29 vibrations. It's really strong. She has a lot of planets in her 29. So that's why it becomes an overwhelming like dynamic in her chart. So it makes it a little easier. But, you know, people have all kinds, and we're just beginning in these things. That's why at the conferences, we're delving in deeper. We're defining more of the vibrations. We're continuing to research more and more. It's only going to grow to even more detail. That's where we're really going, is getting more and more and more detailed. That's really the direction of VA. But the system works. I mean, it works actually quite amazingly. So, it's exciting. All right.
So this was a very fun first live for us. Thank you guys who joined us, and whoever watches us afterwards. Thanks for that. Well, I'm sure we're probably going to do another one again. So when we do, just watch out for our notices, and you can submit your information if you would like to be part of our next live show. And of course, we'll be doing the other ones regularly also. So I think that's a wrap for us, you guys. Does anybody else have anything to add before we close up here?
No, thank you for letting us do your charts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry Lynn. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you guys take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.